If the Helck anime doesn't get a season 2, I will be incredibly pissed off. I mean, like, what the Helck just happened? Not announcing a season 2 with such a quality finish. I mean, we need about 2 cores more to finish the story, from my understanding. I mean, maybe 1.5 cores if they speed it up a little. But all things considered, despite this being a completed manga, I mean, since the beginning I've always heard like 3 to 4 cores, 4 preferably would be enough to adapt the first story. Because there's like a sequel manga or a spin-off manga or something ongoing. But something like this that actually did something so vastly different with the whole hero-demon dynamic. I mean, my assumption was the reason we would still have more content left was that we would kill maybe the human king, and then there would be like another threat. You know, maybe it's like, okay, we need them around because other things are gonna happen. But instead, no, we just focused on, instead of killing these humans and pushing on, we gave someone who could have become an apocalypse in the making, just a bomb waiting to go off. And Lady Anne, aka Vermilio, pretty much says, why don't we save the humans? Even if they say there's no way to do it, one, the bad guy's not going to tell you that there's a way to save people unless they're a generic shonen villain. And two, even if they firmly believe there isn't a way, what's to say that you can't find a way? Like, has it ever actually been proven? Like, did they do a couple of tests and just said, you know what, this proves it? Like, no, like, we have to give it an honest shot. And I thought that's interesting because this entire season, we've been watching Helck basically pretty much be like, listen, you know what, this cheerful guy, we got these ominous theories and kind of voices saying he might blow up someday. We even have a blade that's able to kill him. Goes into, hey bro, I got you, let's go save these humans. Yeah, give me a fucking season 2, man. Like, what else you want me to say to this? This was fantastic. Now, I do have full live reactions to all these wonderful Helck episodes over on my Patreon if you would like to see that. I know I didn't talk about a majority of Core 2, but I did cover all that over on Patreon, so if you're into that and want to see more thoughts, they're over there. Now, I did talk about this yesterday when it aired. I was just busy, but I knew I wanted to still talk about this because Helck has been a very enjoyable ride. It's criminally underappreciated. I mean, there's no other way to put that. I think the people who watch Helck are appreciating it correctly. I think the worst majority voice I see is that it's a good show. Like, I haven't really seen too much smack talk in the way that people are like, oh, this is generic, why did this get 2 core? No, like, every show is going to have some criticism and every show is going to have some haters. And I love the fact that Helck just decided to go from starting this like tournament arc, which is how the show started. Here's this jolly guy saying, screw the humans, I'm with the demons, and turn it into this really interesting tale where instead of going what you kind of see with anime a lot, where like I've seen plenty of shows where demons aren't actually demons, right? They're actually, oh, they feel pretty human, they feel pretty nice. And sometimes that can be a little repetitive because we see that time and time again. I mean, shows where demons are legitimately demonic and feel monstrous, like in a show like Free Ren, I really enjoy that stuff. I really do, and I will always praise that. But there was something about Helck and the idea of just knowing this human just starting in this area, knowing something's out of place, and then how they twisted the humanity dynamic, not because humans were like these monsters to begin with, but how they got turned into these monstrosities, these awakened, right? And just the idea that these demons were just, you know, kind of the typical, they were pushed away from humanity. They're different and obviously they can't really blend in. But without them kind of being the barrier to all the craziness, look at what would happen to the surface without them, sort of a thing. And it's so crazy because like once they killed the Demon King, right, or the Lord or whatever it was, like shit just kept starting to pile more and more on humans to the point that they did this crazy experimentation. And the possibility for a season 2, while of course we know will not get insane viewership, and we will be lucky if we even get another core. Like, even if the manga is decently popular, I feel like I don't see the anime selling that well. I don't think there was crazy streaming numbers, and I don't think it was the highest viewed show in this year, or even anywhere close. But I'm fingers crossed we can at least get one more core. Even if they have to speed up the pacing, I would prefer that than an incomplete adaptation. I always say that. Give me a rush production that's complete than something that's well paced for half of it, but then you never get to see the full picture. No, like give me as much as you can. The thing I liked about this last episode was not only was it one of the most refined Helck episodes, which to Helck's credit, has been a very consistent show. It may not have the craziest art direction or the crispest character models or even the craziest animation. There's a lot of stiffness and there's a lot of like old school animation techniques, but it did remain consistent. And in a sea where so many shows are crashing and burning, not able to finish 12 episodes productions in their original run, this show came out and said, 24 episodes? Bet. And they actually delivered something that was consistent. And in episodes like these, where our girls literally launching flamethrowers and doing crazy maneuvers, that shit looked clean. But the thing that made this so good is every time like 2 or 3 minutes would pass, I would look at the time bar, I'm like, there's no way. They're not going to resolve this in a satisfying way. There's no way this is going to happen. And then they would just drop everything I needed, despite this not being a bow that wraps everything up. The idea that I'm like, okay, my boy Ozra, what the hell happened? Oh, he's just covered in bandages again? Perfect. That's all I need to hear. Okay, what are we going to do about the Human King and all this? Is like, oh, okay, we're not actually killing humans right now. We're going to try to find a place. We're going off to this other castle here. And I'm just like, you know what? They somehow made an episode that I thought was going to be impossible to resolve things, because it is impossible. They didn't resolve everything, but they leave out the characters where you need them and they give it a hopeful kind of open-ended nature. So for some odd reason, we can't see more in the anime form, and we're just not the type of people who want to go read that manga. I like the idea of leaving Helck off on this hopeful note of, it could be a fool's dream. It could be completely impossible to save the humans that have turned, but rather than stabbing his lady crush in the heart and forcing her to die, instead, we said, no more violence for today. Helck has been suffering alone, having such a fake smile, trying to continue to be that jolly green giant, but at the end of the day, you know what, he needed someone to be there for him, and that's where our girl came in. And it was such a hopeful end to such a crazy twist and turn on the human demon storyline, and this absolutely deserves more. I think for me personally, despite being someone who's not really big into reading manga, there's been certain cases where I have, of course. For me, this is one of those stories where I have a very similar feeling of that of 2 Year Eternity. I was like, you know what, 2 Year Eternity, if that doesn't get a season 2 within a year, I'll go read the manga. And then it did get a season 2, and that was kind of my initial, I was like, okay, if they're not going to confirm a season 3, same thing, and then they confirmed a season 3. For me, I think I could wait about a year. And if come a year's time, there's no announcement, which I kind of feel like that's going to be the time frame we see more Helck, I'm welcome to be proven wrong. If we get to a year in and there's no confirmation, I will read the manga, because I really want to see where this story goes. And I don't do that for a whole lot of shows, but this is one that I really can't forget about, because it did something different with the human-demon dynamic. While there's similarities, like demons not actually being all that bad and humans being more of the corrupt side given how everything started, they actually did something rather unique, and I'm really happy with where Helck went, and most importantly, I'm glad that Ozra ended up surviving. The only negative really about Helck is that Pee-wee continued to be a character. I mean, that Kentucky Fried Chicken needed to be roasted with the Colonel's seasons. People really hate it when I talk shit about Pee-wee. I'm not really like someone who despises the character, but I found Pee-wee to just be an absolute bore and just annoyed me. So I'm always gonna joke that it is a bird and I want it to be KFC just for the lulz and the angry comments I sometimes get. But this was a great anime. That's how I'd rate it. It was a great anime that deserves a season 2. But let me know what you thought of the last episode, or maybe even the show as a whole down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell, especially if we do get more Helck. You want to be notified when I do upload more. And hey, like I mentioned, full live reactions to all 24 episodes over on my Patreon, and while you're over there, you'll also get a video shout out. So today we have Birdnest, Ender Wolf, Gomison, Ray Quiggs, Count Viscount, and Philos. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.